morning, gentlemen. Good to be with you on this fine day. I am supposed to talk about discipleship and manhood, but watching the way in which you guys, out of the generosity and goodness of your hearts, let the women win the game, I think you're already there. Now, that's just a secret for us. We won't let it leak that you let them win, because that would take it away from them, but we'll just keep it right in this room. Man, I've got 35 minutes with you, and I don't want to waste any of it. And in that 35 minutes, I want to try to convey one thing to you. And it's simply this: the world does not need half disciples. The invitation you've received from Christ this weekend, for the first time, this weekend for the 50th time, is to be all in. The cost of discipleship is everything, men. And if we don't give it everything, all the hopes we have for changing the world, all the dreams we have of having an impact, the great adventure that's set before us will fall short. And so the one thing I want to convey to you about discipleship is it's all, everything, total abandonment, all in. Because a half disciple is not a disciple, and they don't accomplish the will of God. It just doesn't work that way. I'm going to do that in two ways. I'm going to talk a little bit about discipleship, and I'm going to talk a little bit about obstacles to discipleship in our own lives, okay? So that's it. 2 pieces of the talk, 30 minutes together. I want you to consider for a moment about discipleship. When the Lord invites people into discipleship, what does he tell them? There's 2 kinds of things the Lord does when he encounters people. He'll run into people and he'll speak to them and he'll heal them. He'll raise them from the dead. He'll heal their crippled hands. He'll expel demons. And to most of the people in the New Testament, what does he say after he's done something for them? He says, go. Go. Go and tell people, or go and don't tell anyone. Go back to your town. Go and sin no more. But there's another class of people in the New Testament to which, after he encounters them, he says to them, come. Come, follow me. This is a special invitation in the New Testament, man. The invitation to come. This is the invitation to the ultimate intimacy with him in a life of complete and total and radical discipleship. It's the invitation he gave to the rich young man. That story I'm sure we know well. I like Mark's version of it. The rich young ruler, or the rich young man, sees Jesus coming. He's heard about him. You remember this. He runs out to him. He pursues Christ. Sees Christ coming, runs out to him, and he says to him, Lord, good teacher, what must I do to have eternal life? And the Lord says to him, challenges him a little bit. Good? Why do you call me good? No man is good. Now, the Lord is good, but he's challenging him. And this man listens, and the Lord says, well, basically follow the 10 commandments. And you remember, the rich young man says, these I have done from my youth. This is a good guy, man. This is a guy who's done these things. And you would think, wow, what a great answer. I wish when the Lord called me, I could say to him, the commandments I have done from my youth, Lord. I couldn't. But the Lord doesn't leave him there. He says, you have one more thing. Give up all that you have and come follow me. And then come. Gentlemen, there is no greater life mission than to be invited by the King of the universe, Lord and Master, to come and follow him. But what does it cost? Everything. Everything. And your happiness, gentlemen, is connected to your ability to answer that question, the question you're facing this weekend, the question you're going to face every day of the rest of your life, the question for those of you who've been around for a long time, we face all the time. Are you going to give everything? Because if you can't give everything, like the rich young man, you will walk away sad. Sad. But here's the thing, gents. The Lord isn't going to trick you into becoming a disciple. He's not going to pretend it doesn't cost everything. This is the same Lord who says things to his disciples like, if you follow me, they will persecute you. They will take you before their kings and set you before their councils, and they will scourge you. And they will mock you. And brother will be set against brother, and child against parent. This is the Lord who says, if you would win your life, if you would gain your life, you must lose it. This is the discipleship of St. Paul, who says, do you not know when you were baptized into Christ's death? The Lord doesn't lie. He doesn't want cheap disciples. Gents, when he invites you, he doesn't want to deceive you in the least. He wants you to know exactly what's at stake and exactly what's being asked. And we can trust him on that. And we can trust him on his promises. That if we do give up everything, we find ourselves. That if we do say, I will renounce it all, that we gain it all. That our happiness, men, depends on saying yes, not in part, and not to a lie, or not to a half-truth, but to the full and complete invitation of Christ to give up everything. You've heard a lot of talk about how much hope there is when people see you, and the Archbishop this morning, Aquila, he's a friend of mine, and he spoke to you beautifully about the hope he sees when he sees you and what you're saying. Gentlemen, it's a hope that depends on your saying yes completely, totally, unconditionally. And the Lord is never going to deceive you about that. Why? Why is it like that? Well, here's another way to think about discipleship, man. Discipleship is imitating Jesus. Let's think about his life for a minute. Sometimes we hear imitate Jesus, do what Jesus would do, and we tend to think about difficult moral choices or saying kind words. Let's look at Jesus' life just for a minute. Let's take the big perspective. We celebrated today the Epiphany. What a great moment. The King of the universe comes as a babe in the manger, and kings from around the world follow a star to see him, and they adore him. Good story, and we say things like, behold, the Lord is here. In power and dominion, we chanted this morning. What happens very shortly after the kings go? First thing that happens to our Lord as a babe. His dad's awoken in the night to a dream. You must flee and go into exile, for they seek to kill him. And he spends his youth in exile. This is the Jesus who, when he starts his public ministry, what's the first thing that happens to him? He says, the Spirit of the Lord led him into the desert to do what, men? To do battle. To do battle. To fast for 40 days and to fight. The first act of his prep for his ministry is to go to war in the desert. This is the Jesus who spends his whole life doing things like healing people. This is a good thing. He heals a man with a withered hand in the temple on the Sabbath. What do they say in Scripture? They say that after this, the Pharisees and leaders plotted to destroy him. And we see the culmination of his life. We see that he's preparing himself for that final stage. And Scripture tells us he set his face, set it on Jerusalem with determination, knowing everything he was going to face. And he marches into Jerusalem. He's praised and he knows it's temporary. Takes no joy in it. He's put before a kangaroo court. He's betrayed by his deepest friends. He's left abandoned. He's put on a cross. He's scourged. He's mocked. And he dies. This is the Jesus who says, "Come follow me and imitate me." Now, I'm not going to leave us here, men, because that's not where the Lord leaves us. But if we don't see what we're actually being asked to join, we won't be able to endure when we start experiencing things that Jesus experienced. We know the end of the story, men. The end of the story is victory. A victory that's permanent, eternal, done. Christ the King reigns. The Lion of Judah sits upon the throne. It's over, men. We know who won this great battle. The only question for each of us is who will reign with him? Will we trod the road he trod that we may reign with him or not? Gents, you come on a weekend like this, you experience Christ, you experience brothers, you might encounter for maybe the first time what it's like to be with other men who are running after Christ. Oh my gosh, I can be friends with these guys. There's something here, it's magical. And it's rich, and it's good, and it's a taste of heaven. The day will come when there will be no more battle, when we will simply reign. But it's not yet. That's called the hope of heaven, and may it come soon. But for now, men, you were born into a battle, and the man sitting next to you is in that battle with you. And the question for each of us is, will we fight? Will we fight? And if we see that and still say, "Yes, Lord, I'm in." I don't know how I'm going to get through it. I don't know what I will say if I'm brought before kings and have to defend myself. But Lord, trusting in you, I say yes. And not just today, not just on this weekend, not just after a great confession, but every single day I say yes. So what are some of the obstacles that get in the way of us? What are some of the things that get in the way of saying that yes? I want to give you 3. Number 1, pride. And by pride, I mean something specific. I don't just mean someone who thinks highly of themselves. We all got a mix of that in us. Some days we think we're great. Some days we realize we're not. I mean a fundamental decision in our lives, men, of who is Lord. Am I Lord, or is Jesus Lord? To whom do you belong? We live in an age in which we are told over and over and over again that you yourself are master of yourself and can do anything you want with yourself. Try not to hurt other people as you do it. And don't break any laws. But you are master. You are Lord. You determine who you are, what you're for, what you want to do, why. You invent your own reality. Men, it's a lie and it's a myth, and it will destroy you. You have a world that tells you you're little gods. Well, you know the bad news is, guys, you're a lousy God. Look back at your own life and ask about your decisions. The older I get, the more convinced I am, I wish I didn't have as much free will as I do. I'd prefer less, Lord. Don't give me those options. I don't even want those options. So the first thing that gets in our way is, who's Lord? It's a question you've got to answer, because to follow Jesus is not to say, Jesus, I'm willing to come with you to a certain extent. You got some good advice. I'll take it. Some days I'll take all of it. But at the end of the day, my life belongs to me. The Lord will not accept that. And it will cost you your joy. So at the heart of the choice for discipleship, staring in the face the seriousness of the invitation and what it will cost you, the first question is, am I Lord or is he? Now let me be clear. Saying that he is Lord doesn't mean you lose responsibility for your life. He's not going to treat you like a child. Children are beautiful. I'm going to talk about them in a minute. It's fun. But he doesn't want you to be a child. He wants you to be a man, an adult. He wants you to write your history with him. He wants to set you up and form you to make decisions in accord with his will and to own your life. But he is Lord. He sets the direction and he speaks. So first decision, Lord, I am not Lord. I hand over the reins of my life. I will follow. Second obstacle, men. Fear. You've heard some about this today. A number of the speakers have spoken about it. I've been able to participate in a lot of the conference because my whole family came. First time in, I think, 14 years, my wife has come with me to one of these. It's been great. Fear. Fear of failure. Fear of loss of self-control. Fear of that I'm not going to be happy. Fear of suffering. Fear of inability to follow. Just fear. There's a reason why we hear over and over again, be not afraid, gentlemen. And let me say something to you about courage, which is the counter of fear. Courage is not, as a virtue, never being afraid of anything. There are some things in life we're supposed to be afraid of, men. A starving lion running after you in the middle of the savannah is supposed to provoke fear in you. If you are not afraid of that, something is wrong with you. So what is courage, men? Courage is doing the right thing despite the fear. It's the standing in front of your child when that lion is roaring and giving up your own life knowing darn well you're scared to death, but that the right thing to do is to protect your son. So it goes with the call the Lord gave us. When the Lord said they will persecute you, they will call you before councils, you will be brought before kings, you will be scourged because no servant is greater than his master, and your master has suffered these things and you will too. He's not doing that to scare you. He's actually doing that to encourage you. Because he can say right after that in Matthew 10, which I'm going to end with when I read it, be not afraid. Right after he says all those things, he says, but be not afraid. Gentlemen, there is nothing in this world that can happen to you that can break the love of Christ for you and your ability to love him back. Nothing. And so the greatness to which you are called, the highest call in the world, to be a disciple, which, by the way, makes any accomplishment in this life look childish. Any accomplishment in this life, next to discipleship, looks like winning dodgeball in the 3rd grade. It's nothing. It's for kids. That to win that, though it costs everything, nothing can prevent you from winning that if you say yes. Here's the thing about the Christian life, men. It's the only battle in the world that you win simply by enduring to the end. Paul says, stand therefore. Considering your enemies, considering who you're against, stand. And in that evil day, stand. Men, you are victorious as long as you don't quit and you stand. That's not how other battles work. Battles in the earthly sense, your job isn't to just stand there, your job is to go kill people. In this Christian life, stand, and you will win, and you will reign with him. Nothing can take that away from you, man. So though we have fear, though we see what we're up against, fear doesn't dominate us, and it doesn't own us. And by the way, guys don't like to talk about fear with one another. It's worth talking about fear with your brothers. I'm just afraid I'm going to fail, man. I'm just afraid that this isn't going to work. I'm actually scared of suffering. These are the kind of things we need to tell each other and be frank about. Third challenge. This is a specific challenge that I want to walk through with a little bit of time with you, men. This is a challenge that's particularly alive right now in the culture we're in for a lot of reasons that I won't go into. But basically, we live in a cultural moment in which it's easy to stay a boy and not become a man. They call it extended adolescence, and it keeps getting older and older. It's in the early 20s, now it's in the late 20s. And gentlemen, I just want to offer a challenge you today. I want to give you a few thoughts, take them or leave them. But I want to challenge you with a vision of what manhood looks like next to boyhood that you can reflect on. Because here's the thing, if you really are born into a battle, which you are, if you really are called to a discipleship that will cost you everything so that you gain everything, which you are, if you really are called to go on mission in this world in which there are real enemies of Jesus Christ and enemies of you, the world, the flesh, and the devil who seek to destroy you, which you are, and be successful in that battle, it's not a battle for boys. It's a battle for men. So let me give you a few reflections. I'm just going to put them in a list of things that I say the difference between a boy and a man. By the way, boys are great. I have a couple, 3 of them. One of them's here actually. And they're wonderful. There's nothing like a little guy running around and doing the kinds of things boys do. It's a delight. But the purpose of boyhood is not to stay a boy. The purpose of boyhood is to grow into a man. And so while we may delight in it for a while and find it charming, it's inappropriate at a certain point in our lives. So let me just give you a little list of things. Number 1, a boy's view of the world, a boy looks to have fun. A boy looks to have fun. A man looks to do his duty. That's what boys do. They look to have fun. I've got boys in the house, they can't walk around anything round that might possibly bounce and not pick it up and throw it at a lamp. They just can't. They can't see something worth climbing and it's like, oh, I could climb that. That looks fun. Charming in your 8-year-old. That's not what a man does. A man doesn't look at his life and say, how can it entertain me? He doesn't walk into a meeting like this and say, what am I going to get out of this that's going to satisfy my desire for fun? A man walks into a situation and says, what is my duty in this situation? What needs to be done here and what responsibility do I have in order to see that it's done? It's one of the first things you learn as a parent. Life ain't about fun. It's about survival. Somehow getting through Mass, having prayed for 30 seconds as you're chasing kids around and changing diapers and doing whatever. Gentlemen, you have a duty. The world tells you to have fun. That's for children. You have a duty. Doesn't mean you can't have fun. You do. Nothing like hanging out with good brothers. Nothing like being with your family at certain moments. But it's not the way the world is ordered for you. Duty. A boy looks to have fun, a man looks to do his duty. Here's another one. A boy is concerned with whether people like him. A man is concerned with gaining respect, with being respected. Boys want to know if they're liked. They walk into an environment, they're doing something, they're always sort of taking their cues from other boys. They walk in, they see the game, they kind of join it. Do I fit? They're looking over the shoulder, Dad, is this kind of where I'm supposed to be? It's sweet. It's nice. It's how they learn how to be social. It's how they learn how to make friends. But a man doesn't walk into a situation concerned about whether people like him necessarily. I would hope he would want them to. But he walks in and he wants to be respected. He wants to be taken seriously just as he will take other people seriously. And so the fundamental question is, well, will they like me if I do this? The question is, will they see that what I am doing is good and honorable so that I may be respected and I may show respect? Third, a boy seeks comfort. A boy wants to be comfy. That's why little boys, they like their blankies. And it's neat, and they got their stuffed animals, or you in your hotel room have like 75 pillows. Why? I don't know. A boy seeks comfort. A man seeks to do the good no matter how difficult. A man's willing to suffer for the good. We live in an age of convenience that would seek to make everything easy for us. It can create really bad habits, gents. Oh, that light switch is so far away. I wish I could just say, lights on. Somehow the human race about 25 years ago lost the capacity to actually roll down a window. It was just too hard. We had to do a button. And now it's car, window down. The temperature is never quite right. Gentlemen, your life is not about comfort. It's about doing the good, no matter how difficult. A boy is easily forgetful of responsibility. Easy to forget responsibility. A man actually wants responsibility. A boy's like, oh, I don't know, I just want to go and have a good time. I want to play. I want to do my thing. Oh, was I supposed to do that? Oh, I forgot. A little annoying in a boy, a little cute sometimes. A man actually says, give me the ball. Give me the ball. If there's something I can do here, I will do it. I don't have to have the ball, but if I can do it, I will do it. I will take responsibility. We live in an age when people flee responsibility. They don't want to be responsible for anything. Even their own commitments they don't want to be responsible for. Men, the world is not changed by people who flee responsibility. And discipleship is a call to take on a responsibility in the battle for the soul of every human being in the universe. You're called to responsibility. A boy is quickly discouraged. A man is not easily turned aside from his purpose. Boys quit easy. Oh, I can't do it. It's too hard. I'll never figure it out. That's a boy. Not a man. A man persists until it's done. And if he can't do it alone, he gets help. You don't walk away from responsibility and you stick at it. This is particularly important in discipleship because it's hard. Heck, if you've done evangelization, you know how hard it is. Some days you're wondering, is anything I'm doing having an impact? I get to work with a lot of people who serve in some of the most desperate communities in the world, socioeconomically, spiritually, personally. It's the ones who persist to the end who make a difference. The ones who quit, they come and they go. But they don't have an impact. A boy is impressed by show. A boy cares what kind of car you drive. A man cares about character. The kind of man, the kind of woman that they meet. A boy looks at the outside. He wants to have flashy shoes. He wants to have the right size coat. He wants to dress in snappy casual, whatever the heck that is. Had to look it up. I failed. Yeah. Not a man. A man doesn't ask what a guy looks like on the outside. He's not looking at the tails of the peacock. He wants to know the kind of person he's encountering. Is this someone who keeps their word? Is this someone who can be trusted? Is this someone who makes a commitment and sticks to it? Is this someone who takes responsibility seriously such that if I assign them a duty, they'll get it done? Is this someone who, if they speak to me, they speak from a seriousness of life and an experience that I can actually take what they say to the bank and learn from it? Because I care about character, not show. A boy views women as a source of self-indulgence. A man looks to protect and care for them. You've heard a lot about that. Here's another thing, when looking at spouses, a boy would look at a potential spouse as another mother, someone who can take care of them and make sure their needs are met and they're indulged. A man isn't looking for another mother, he's looking for a wife and a partner and someone he can build a life with and can go on the journey of discipleship with. Someone he can respect and someone he can lay his life down for. Someone he can stand with in the midst of the tempests and storms of life, and someone he can rejoice with in the joys. Too many men looking for the wrong thing. A boy looks to be praised, a man looks to give honor. Boys like to hear themselves praised. They try to earn it. They try to do things. That's why they show off. They want to hear it talked about. They start getting honored. It's like, oh, really? No, keep stopping. Really? No. Don't say any more nice things about me. No. That's for boys. They want to hear they've done good. Yay. What does a man want to do? A man wants to see that people are honored for good honor. I was so moved by a couple of my dear friends up on stage the other night, honoring one of their teachers, Scott Hahn. To see my good friends up there honoring their brother. That's what a man does. A man honors. He doesn't look for praise for himself. When it comes, fine. If you give praise, great. Thank you. I appreciate that. Appreciate the encouragement. But you don't look for it. That's what a boy does. A boy whines and complains. A man doesn't complain. He endures. We live in such a whiny culture. It's too hot, it's too cold. You see how long that line was? That pizza stinks. That movie was so bad. That movie was too long. This teacher's the worst. Oh my gosh, you have no idea how tired I am. I don't care how tired you are. I want to know if you're going to serve with me, men. And you have a right to ask if I'm going to serve with you. That's the right you have. So stop the whining, stop the complaining, even in fun. It can get too thick even in fun. It's become sort of a cultural habit. That's for boys. A boy avoids commitment. A man treasures commitment. It's a sign of your dignity, gentlemen, that you can commit your whole life to something. What a radical, great thing. You can make a gift of yourself to something. Our culture flees commitment. Yeah, I'll come maybe. Yeah, if there's not something else that I find to do more fun before, then. I'll commit until I no longer want to commit. That's actually not a commitment. A commitment is a treasure. It's saying my life is so serious and it's such a unique gift that I can give it completely forever. A great scene in the movie A Man for All Seasons about Thomas More. Maybe you know it. He's talking to his daughter Meg in the tower. And she says to him, Dad, can't you just take the stupid oath and just not mean it? Can't you just commit verbally but not really mean it? And he has that line and he says, Meg, a man holds his life in his hands like sand. And if he ever loses the fingers, he can never get it back. Gentlemen, you hold your life in your hands like sand and you have the ability to, by oath and promise, give it in its integrity. Commitment's not a burden, it's the highest gift you can give. It's all you've got, and you can give it to Christ, and through Christ to another human being in marriage, and to those whom you love, and your children, and those you serve. Don't run from commitment, men. That's what boys do. Final. Boys are governed by emotion and mood. Men by truth, and by knowing what's good. Boys, they run around. It's how they feel on a given day. Oh, I feel like doing this, so I'll go do that. Oh, I feel like nothing, so I'm just going to go sit. The first question that a boy asks is, how do I feel today? Because that's going to determine how I behave. It's children. And it's funny, you watch them and they mope and they're happy and you can sort of check their moods. Charming maybe, but not in a man. A man asks the question, what's true and what's good? And those are the things I will do. Every situation you walk into, gentlemen, the question is not how do I feel about being in the situation? That may be an important data point, but it's not the most important. The simple point is, what's true and what is the good that I need to do right now in this situation? Because I serve it, it doesn't serve me. I'm not here for my pleasure. Gentlemen, the world doesn't need boys, it needs men. because you were born into a great battle that will cost you everything so that you may gain everything. And I'm looking at a couple thousand men here and I'm thinking, what if every one of these guys said yes? History is not made by the many. It's not made by mass movements. It doesn't matter how many followers you have on social media. History's always been made by the few. And what a difference could happen if every man in this room today, seeing clearly what they're being invited to, understanding that this commitment is not half-hearted, said yes. Lord, I don't know, I can't do it on my own. I need the brothers beside me to do it with, but I'm in. I'm in. To say yes, gentlemen, is to experience joy. To say no is to walk away sad. And I just think the Lord wants you to know what you're choosing, and he wants you to choose joy. Let me end, as I promised, with a reading from Matthew 10. The words of our Lord. Behold, I send you out as sheep in the midst of wolves, so be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. Beware of men, for they will deliver you up to councils and flog you in their synagogues, and you will be dragged before governors and kings for my sake to bear testimony before them. When they persecute you, in one town, flee to the next. For a disciple is not above his teacher, nor a servant above his master. If they persecuted me, they will persecute you. So, and here's the line, verse 26, have no fear of them. For nothing is covered that will not be revealed, or hidden that will not be made known. What I tell you in the dark, utter in the light, and what you hear whispered, proclaim upon the housetops. And do not fear those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Rather fear him who can destroy both soul and body in hell. So every one of you who acknowledges me before men, I will also acknowledge before my Father who is in heaven. Gentlemen, may the day come when you and I together, all of us, everyone in this room, are acknowledged by our Lord and Master before our Father in heaven. Amen. Thanks, Jess.